The Book of the Laws of Various Countries by Bardesanes. Laws of the Seres. The Seres have laws forbidding to kill or to commit impurity or to worship idols. And in the whole of Serica there are no idols, and no harlots, nor anyone that kills a man, nor any that is killed, although they, like other men, are born at all hours and on all days. Thus, the fierce Mars, whenever he is posited in the zenith, does not overpower the freedom of the Ceres, and compel a man to shed the blood of his fellow with an iron weapon. Nor does Venus, when posited with Mars, compel any man whatever among the Ceres to consort with his neighbor's wife, or with any other woman. Rich and poor, however, and sick people and healthy and rulers and subjects are there, because such matters are given into the power of the governors. Laws of the Brahmins who are in India. Again, among the Hindus, the Brahmins, of whom there are many thousands and tens of thousands, have a law forbidding to kill at all, or to pay reverence to idols, or to commit impurity, or to eat flesh, or to drink wine. And among these people not one of these things ever takes place. Thousands of years too have elapsed, during which these men, lo, have been governed by this law which they made for themselves, another law which is in India. There is also another law in India, and in the same zone, prevailing among those who are not of the caste of the Brahmins, and do not embrace their teaching, bidding them serve idols, and commit impurity, and kill, and do other bad things, which by the Brahmins are disapproved. In the same zone of India, too, there are men who are in the habit of eating the flesh of men, just as all other nations eat the flesh of animals. Thus the evil stars have not compelled the Brahmins to do evil and impure things, nor have the good stars prevailed on the rest of the Hindus to abstain from doing evil things, nor have those stars which are well located in the regions which properly belong to them, and in the signs of the zodiac favorable to a humane disposition, prevailed on those who eat the flesh of men to abstain from using this foul and abominable food. Laws of the Persians. The Persians, again, have made themselves laws permitting them to take as wives their sisters and their daughters, and their daughters' daughters. And there are some who go yet further and take even their mothers. Some of these said Persians are scattered abroad, away from their country, and are found in Media, and in the country of the Parthians, and in Egypt, and in Phrygia. They are called Magi. And in all the countries and zones in which they are found, they are governed by this law, which was made for their fathers. Yet we cannot say that for all the Magi, and for the rest of the Persians, Venus was posited with the moon and with Saturn in the house of Saturn in her portions, while the aspect of Mars was toward them. There are many places too in the kingdom of the Parthians where men kill their wives and their brothers and their children and incur no penalty, while among the Romans and the Greeks, he that kills one of these incurs capital punishment, the severest of penalties. Laws of the Gaeli. Among the Gaeli, the women sow and reap and build and perform all the tasks of laborers, and wear no raiment of colors, and put on no shoes, and use no pleasant ointments. Nor does anyone find fault with them when they consort with strangers or cultivate intimacies with their household slaves. But the husbands of these Gaeli are dressed in garments of colors, and ornamented with gold and jewels, and anoint themselves with pleasant ointments. Nor is it on account of any effeminacy on their part that they act in this manner, but on account of the law which has been made for them. In fact, all the men are fond of hunting and addicted to war. But we cannot say that for all the women of the Gaeli Venus was posited in Capricorn or in Aquarius in a position of ill luck. Nor can we possibly say that for all the Gaeli Mars and Venus were posited in Aries, where it is written that brave and wanton men are born. Laws of the Bactrians. Among the Bactrians, who are called Kashani, The women adorn themselves with the goodly raiment of men, and with much gold, and with costly jewels, and the slaves and handmaids minister to them more than to their husbands, and they ride on horses decked out with trapping of gold and with precious stones. These women, moreover, do not practice continency, but have intimacies with their slaves, and with strangers who go to that country, and their husbands do not find fault with them, nor have the women themselves any fear of punishment, because the Kashani look upon their wives only as mistresses. Yet we cannot say that for all the Bactrian women, Venus and Mars and Jupiter are posited in the house of Mars in the middle of the heavens, the place where women are born that are rich and adulterous, and that make their husbands subservient to them in everything, laws of the Rakami and of the Bardesanes and of the Arabians. Among the Rakami and the Bardesanes and the Arabians, not only is she that commits adultery put to death, but she also upon whom rests the suspicion of adultery suffers capital punishment. Laws in Hatra. There is a law in force in Hatra that whosoever steals any little thing, even though it were worthless as water, shall be stoned. Among the Kashani, on the contrary, if anyone commits such a theft as this, they merely spit in his face. Among the Romans too, he that commits a small theft is scourged and sent about his business. On the other side of the Euphrates, and as you go eastward, he that is stigmatized as either a thief or a murderer does not much resent it. But if a man be stigmatized as a homosexual, he will avenge himself, even to the extent of killing his accuser. Again, in all the region of the East, if any persons are thus stigmatized and are known to be guilty, their own fathers and brothers put them to death, and very often they do not even make known the graves where they are buried. Such are the laws of the people of the East. But in the north, and in the country of the Gauls and their neighbors, such youths among them as are handsome the men take as wives, and they even have feasts on the occasion, and it is not considered by them as a disgrace, nor as a reproach, because of the law which prevails among them. But it is a thing impossible that all those in Gaul who are branded with this disgrace should at their nativities have had Mercury posited with Venus in the house of Saturn, and within the limits of Mars, and in the signs of the zodiac to the west. For concerning such men as are born under these conditions, it is written that they are branded with infamy as being like women. Laws of the Britons. Among the Britons many men take one and the same wife. Laws of the Parthians. Among the Parthians, on the other hand, one man takes many wives, and all of them keep to him only, because of the law which has been made there in that country, laws of the Amazons. As regards the Amazons, they, all of them, the entire nation, have no husbands, but like animals once a year in the springtime, they issue forth from their territories and cross the river. And having crossed it, they hold a great festival on a mountain, and the men from those parts come and stay with them 14 days, and associate with them, and they become pregnant by them, and pass over again to their own country. And when they are delivered, such of the children as are males they cast away, and the females they bring up. Now it is evident that, according to the ordinance of nature, since they all became pregnant in 1 month, they also in 1 month are all delivered, a little sooner or a little later, and as we have heard, all of them are robust and warlike, but not one of the stars is able to help any of those males who are born, so as to prevent their being cast away. The Book of the Astrologers. It is written in the Book of the Astrologers that when Mercury is posited with Venus in the house of Mercury, he produces painters, sculptors, and bankers, but that, when they are in the house of Venus, they produce perfumers and dancers and singers and poets. And yet, in all the country of the Taites and of the Saracens, and in Upper Libya and among the Mauritanians, and in the country of the Nomads, which is at the mouth of the ocean, and in outer Germany, and in Upper Sarmatia, and in Spain, and in all the countries to the north of Pontus, and in all the country of the Alanians, and among the Albanians, and among the Zazi, and in Brusa, which is beyond the Douro, one sees neither sculptors, nor painters, nor perfumers, nor bankers, nor poets. But, on the contrary, this decree of Mercury and Venus is prevented from influencing the entire circumference of the world. In the whole of Media, all men, when they die, and even while life is still remaining in them, are cast to the dogs, and the dogs eat the dead of the whole of Media. Yet we cannot say that all the Medians are born having the moon posited with Mars in Cancer in the daytime beneath the earth, for it is written that those whom dogs eat are so born. The Hindus, when they die, are all of them burnt with fire, and many of their wives are burnt along with them alive. But we cannot say that all those women of the Hindus who are burnt had at their nativity Mars and the sun posited in Leo in the nighttime beneath the earth, as those persons are born who are burnt with fire. All the Germans die by strangulation, except those who are killed in battle. But it is a thing impossible that at the nativity of all the Germans the moon and Hora should have been posited between Mars and Saturn. The truth is that in all countries, every day and at all hours, men are born under nativities diverse from one another, and the laws of men prevail over the decree of the stars, and they are governed by their customs. Fate does not compel the Ceres to commit murder against their wish, nor the Brahmins to eat flesh, nor does it hinder the Persians from taking as wives their daughters and their sisters, nor the Hindus from being burnt, nor the Medes from being devoured by dogs, nor the Parthians from taking many wives, nor among the Britons many men from taking one and the same wife, nor the Edessaeans from cultivating chastity, nor the Greeks from practicing gymnastics, nor the Romans from perpetually seizing upon other countries, nor the men of the Gauls from marrying one another. Nor does it compel the Amazons to rear the males. Nor does his nativity compel any man within the circumference of the whole world to cultivate the art of the Muses. But as I have already said, in every country and in every nation, all men avail themselves of the freedom of their nature in any way they choose, and by reason of the body with which they are clothed, do service to fate and to nature, sometimes as they wish, and at other times as they do not wish. For in every country and in every nation there are rich and poor, and rulers and subjects, and people in health and those who are sick, each one according as fate and his nativity have affected him. Of these things, Father Bardesan, said I to him, you have convinced us, and we know that they are true. But do you know that the astrologers say that the earth is divided into 7 portions, which are called zones, and that over the said portions those 7 stars have authority, each of them over one, and that in each one of the said portions the will of its own potentate prevails, and that this is called its law? First of all, know, my son Philip, said he to me, that the astrologers have invented this statement as a device for the promotion of error. For although the earth be divided into 7 portions, yet in every one of the 7 portions many laws are to be found differing from one another. For there are not 7 kinds of laws only found in the world according to the number of the 7 stars, nor yet 12 according to the number of the signs of the zodiac, nor yet 36 according to the number of the decani. But there are many kinds of laws to be seen as you go from kingdom to kingdom, from country to country, from district to district, and in every abode of man differing one from another. For you remember what I said to you, that in one zone, that of the Hindus, there are many men that do not eat the flesh of animals, and there are others that even eat the flesh of men. And again, I told you, in speaking of the Persians and the Magi, that it is not in the zone of Persia only that they have taken for wives their daughters and their sisters, but that in every country to which they have gone, they have followed the law of their fathers, and have preserved the mystic arts contained in that teaching which they delivered to them. And again, Remember that I told you of many nations spread abroad over the entire circuit of the world, who have not been confined to any one zone, but have dwelt in every quarter from which the wind blows, and in all the zones, and who have not the arts which Mercury and Venus are said to have given when in conjunction with each other. Yet, if laws were regulated by zones, this could not be. But they clearly are not, because those men I have spoken of are at a wide remove from having anything in common with many other men in their habits of life. Then again, how many wise men, think ye, have abolished from their countries laws, which appeared to them not well made? How many laws also are there which have been set aside through necessity? And how many kings are there who, when they have got possession of countries which did not belong to them, have abolished their established laws and made such other laws as they chose? And whenever these things occurred, no one of the stars was able to preserve the law. Here is an instance at hand for you to see for yourselves. It is but as yesterday since the Romans took possession of Arabia, and they abolished all the laws previously existing there, and especially the circumcision which they practiced. The truth is that he who is his own master is sometimes compelled to obey the law imposed on him by another, who himself in turn becomes possessed of the power to do as he pleases. But let me mention to you a fact which more than anything else is likely to convince the foolish and such as are wanting in faith. All the Jews who received the law through Moses circumcised their male children on the 8th day without waiting for the coming of the proper stars or standing in fear of the law of the country where they are living. Nor does the star, which has authority over the zone, govern them by force, but whether they be in Edom or in Arabia or in Greece or in Persia or in the north or in the south, they carry out this law which was made for them by their fathers. It is evident that what they do is not from nativity, for it is impossible that for all the Jews on the 8th day on which they are circumcised, Mars should be in the ascendant, so that steel should pass upon them, and their blood be shed. Moreover, all of them, wherever they are, abstain from paying reverence to idols. One day in 7 also, they and their children cease from all work, from all building, and from all traveling, and from all buying and selling. Nor do they kill an animal on the Sabbath day, nor kindle a fire, nor administer justice. And there is not found among them anyone whom fate compels either to go to law on the Sabbath day and gain his cause, or to go to law and lose it, or to pull down, or to build up, or to do any one of those things which are done by all those men who have not received this law. They have also other things in respect to which they do not, on the Sabbath, conduct themselves like the rest of mankind, though on this same day they both bring forth and are born, and fall sick and die. For these things do not pertain to the power of man. In Syria and in Edessa, men used to part with their manhood in honor of Tharatha. But when King Abgar became a believer, he commanded that everyone that did so should have his hand cut off, and from that day until now, no one does so in the country of Edessa. And what shall we say of the new race of us Christians, whom Christ at his advent planted in every country and in every region? For lo, wherever we are all called after the one name of Christ, Christians. On one day, the first of the week, we assemble ourselves together, and on the days of the readings we abstain from taking sustenance. The brethren who are in Gaul do not take males for wives, nor those who are in Parthia 2 wives, nor do those who are in Judea circumcise themselves, nor do our sisters who are among the Galli consort with strangers, nor do those brethren who are in Persia take their daughters for wives. Nor do those who are in Media abandon their dead, or bury them alive, or give them as food to the dogs. Nor do those who are in Edessa kill their wives or their sisters when they commit impurity, but they withdraw from them, and give them over to the judgment of God. Nor do those who are in Hatra stone thieves to death, but wherever they are, and in whatever place they are found, the laws of the several countries do not hinder them from obeying the law of their sovereign Christ. Nor does the fate of the celestial governors compel them to make use of things which they regard as impure. On the other hand, sickness and health and riches and poverty, things which are not within the scope of their freedom, befall them wherever they are. For although the freedom of man is not influenced by the compulsion of the seven, or if at any time it is influenced, it is able to withstand the influences exerted upon it. Yet, on the other hand, this same man, externally regarded, cannot on the instant liberate himself from the command of his governors, for he is a slave and in subjection. For if we were able to do everything, we should ourselves be everything, and if we had not the power to do anything, we should be the tools of others. But when God wills them, all things are possible, and they may take place without hindrance. For there is nothing that can stay that great and holy will. For even those who think that they successfully withstand it, do not withstand it by strength, but by wickedness and error. And this may go on for a little while, because he is kind and forbearing towards all beings that exist, so as to let them remain as they are, and be governed by their own will, while notwithstanding they are held in check by the works which have been done, and by the arrangements which have been made for their help. For this well-ordered constitution of things, and this government which have been instituted, and the intermingling of one with another, serve to repress the violence of these beings, so that they should not inflict harm on one another to the full, nor yet to the full suffer harm, as was the case with them before the creation of the world. A time is also coming when this propensity to inflict harm which still remains in them shall be brought to an end, through the teaching which shall be given them amidst intercourse of another kind. And at the establishment of that new world, all evil commotions shall cease, and all rebellions terminate, and the foolish shall be convinced, and all deficiencies shall be filled up, and there shall be quietness and peace through the gift of the Lord of all existing beings. Here ends the book of the laws of countries. Bardesanes, therefore, an aged man, and one celebrated for his knowledge of events, wrote in a certain work which was composed by him, concerning the synchronisms with one another of the luminaries of heaven, speaking as follows: 2 revolutions of Saturn, 60 years, 5 revolutions of Jupiter, 60 years, 40 revolutions of Mars, 60 years, 60 revolutions of the Sun, 60 years, 72 revolutions of Venus, 60 years, 150 revolutions of Mercury, 60 years, 720 revolutions of the Moon, 60 years. And this, says he, is one synchronism of them all, that is, the time of one such synchronism of them. So that from hence it appears that to complete 100 such synchronisms there will be required 6,000 of years. Thus, 200 revolutions of Saturn, 6,000 of years, 500 revolutions of Jupiter, 6,000 of years, 4,000 revolutions of Mars, 6,000 of years, 6,000 revolutions of the Sun, 6,000 of years, 7,200 revolutions of Venus, 6,000 of years, 12,000 revolutions of Mercury, 6,000 of years, 72,000 revolutions of the Moon, 6,000 of years. These things did Bardesanes thus compute, when desiring to show that this world would stand only 6,000 of years.